So you grew up in Oceanside? No.
No. So
tell us the story where you grew up,
I
bro.
grew up going through Oceanside and knowing about Oceanside because my whole family was one of the original families that settled in the city of Oceanside back in the 1890s. They came out on a covered wagon. So the story goes.
No way.
From Texas with Kit Carson. So there's like 5, 6, 7 families that settled in the San Luis Rey Valley.
Yeah.
And so there's a Freeman Street, which is my family. All my relatives are buried in a corner right in front of the mission, which is one of the old missions. Okay. So the Catholics were buried like right there. And then across the street, right off the 76, there's where the Protestants were buried. But here's the best part about it. You're going to like this. The whole back section is a bunch of the Freemans, my relatives. And guess who they're married next to?
Who?
The Fags. F-A-G-G-S. The Fags and the Freemans were like the best of friends.
Okay.
And for the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Pretty progressive.
That is
This
super progressive.
100% true. 100%
so the Freemans
true.
were carving the way for progressiveness.
If you visit the old cemetery, you will see the Freemans and the Fags coexisting, taking their dirt naps together.
That's hilarious.
But,
that is hilarious.
But yeah, so my dad moved, or my grandfather, who's still alive, 93 years old.
Congrats, grandfather.
3
That's
girlfriends.
legit.
Lives in Lake Havasu.
No way.
Going hard, dude. Silver fox, full head of hair, unlike you and me.
Oh my God.
Gorgeous.
At 93?
93, got his lids done, got some plastic surgery, keeping it tight. 93, ate shit on his e-bike about 3 weeks ago, broke a couple ribs.
Oh my God.
He's back in the game though. He's still like,
John, what happened to you? He's a pimp.
He's a pimp. I didn't get that gene, dude.
Give up, bro. He's like young.
I'm terrible with the ladies.
It's a good thing you're married, dude.
Bad. Yeah, but I grew up driving through Oceanside, going to Fallbrook and stuff. But my mom grew up inland, wanted to always live by the beach.
Okay.
She meets like my hillbilly redneck dad, who's like, grew up, we're going deer hunting.
Yeah, country guy out here.
And he still talks. If you met him, you'd be like, this guy's from the hills of Kentucky. He's from California, but like the cowboy version of California.
I've noticed that though. So since we moved out here, I was completely shocked, taken back. I wasn't out here in the Marines. I was young, whatever. But I was like, there's a lot more country people than I had. That I had. You see what I'm saying? I thought everybody was like John, the surfer. Everybody's like this.
All that middle of California, all the farmland.
People don't know that though. Like we don't know that on the outside.
No. Because everything you see in the movies is like
you either get a
Hollywood,
surfer, a liberal, or a freaking Hollywood. Exactly.
No.
There's
some real deal Holyfield conservative.
Yeah, I read the other day, and you probably correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like there's more home or a small farms in Southern California than there is any other area. Like there's a ton.
Maybe.
Because
so many.
But you got to think it makes sense though from the weather standpoint too. Because of course.
Can I call you an Okie or is that
offensive?
I mean,
I don't give a shit.
Right. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think it's offensive for all my other Oklahomans. I don't think any Oklahomans take it offensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was a derogatory term back in the day.
Was it really?
I think so.
Oh, geez.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's it like for you though, coming from Southern California to Southern California from Oklahoma? It's awesome.
Dude, it's totally awesome.
Okay. So I grew up in the OC.
Okay.
No one called it that until the stupid television
2000s era television show. Yeah.
So I grew up around like your upper middle class and upper class, but my super blue collar. Dad was a cop.
Okay.
And mom was a lunch lady.
Okay.
So like we're barely, thank God though. It was like I thank mom and dad all the time. Clean, safe, good schools, beautiful, barely getting by. Yeah. We talked about how you liked fruit booting.
Yeah, totally.
I was a rollerblader as well.
You were? I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. Get the Rosas on, got the things,
I couldn't get the real rollerblades.
Oh,
I couldn't get the real skateboard. So the skateboard would be from Kmart.
The shit was expensive.
It would be a Verflex. I would get the skate attacks instead of the rollerblades.
Yep.
It was that kind of thing, which I didn't care.
No. You were still skating with us, bro. Yeah. Whatever you had.
I was getting made fun of and relentlessly mocked, but it was okay. Dude, do you remember the Reebok pumps?
Yes, 100%.
So my parents couldn't afford Reebok pumps. So they took me to Lady Foot Locker and got me the Lady Reebok
there was
pumps.
a thing? I had no idea.
Yes, the Lady version. I wore them to school.
Yeah.
Instantly. Kids
they're going to tell.
You're wearing women's shoes. And I was like, nah, these are Reebok pumps.
Yeah, get out of here.
He's like, don't stop.
It's probably your best bud too.
Terrible. But yeah. Grew up in South Orange County and very happy. My parents have been married 55 years. I'm the youngest, only boy, and I got 2 older sisters.
Dang. Oh,
Yeah.
All right.
Wild.
What you just said though is one of the reasons we moved out here. Like your folks, I figured I was like, regardless, I'd already started my business, doing good for myself, but like in my head, like it's still a big jump financially in general, right?
Sure.
Most you don't ever hear like people going that way, And I was like, what your parents did was my thought is like the life, the experiences that you get out here, people don't really know until they live it. And we had this vision of it. I had connections out here. Like if I would have known you before, we'd have been friends, been talking through social. I'd visited out here many times, but you just don't know until you know. But like your folks did, put you in a clean, good school in a good area. There's such opportunity with that. And that's what we wanted to have too.
It really is. I mean, you appreciate it when you get older, and gosh, there's just something to be said for it. I love my city now, Oceanside, but it can get a little stabby. Got to keep your head on a swivel.
Used to get worse.
But like my wife, if you talk to her, she's like, I like it. It's got character. Yeah, and I'm like, does it? We just saw a homeless person.
That was the character.
Butt naked, cleaning themselves with a bottle of water as we're covering our kids' eyes on the way. And she's like, yeah, and it is awesome. I mean, people are very blue collar, every type of human you could ever imagine because of that Marine base.
100%.
We have people that have settled there from all over the world, all over the country. And nobody cares what you do as long as you're respectful.
Exactly.
Which is like, my kids are getting that, but I'm like, I would like a little lower murder rate. Yeah, I don't know.
Because you come from Orange County. I mean,
correct.
You're right. I don't blame you.
It
is quite different from where you probably grew up.
This is very,
especially now.
Where you're at is very similar. Master plan communities that are gorgeous. Your HOAs, Mellorews are gnarly.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous.
You get what you pay for,
yeah,
I guess,
exactly.
And yeah, so you asked the question, growing up in Oklahoma versus here, and it was nice. It was just the weather, right? The only thing is like people are still nice and good. You find good people wherever you are, if you honestly are a good person. But really, we're outdoor people, and in the summer in Oklahoma, it can get to 110, 105, and humidity. You got tornadoes. In the winter, it can get below 0. So you got all these climate change. And when it is nice for the 10 days in Oklahoma, that's beautiful like Southern California, you got about 60 mile an hour wind. And so there's not a lot of people going out and doing things like we kind of take for granted already being here 2 years, man. Totally. There's nothing like it. I mean, even Florida, I just talked to a guy on the phone this morning that lives in the East Coast, and he's like, bro, I stay inside for about 2 months. It's too damn hot and humid.
Yeah, and
I'm
bugs.
Like,
no, seriously,
bugs.
people always ask me because I'll sit around and like whatever, make a stink about the politics in California, and I'm upset about it. But then they're like, why don't you just leave? Blah, blah, blah. I go, do you know what it would have to, do you know how much I love sunshine? It is not a cloud in the sky right now. Absolutely stunning. It's winter and it's like 74 degrees outside. And that sun hits my face when I wake up in the morning. I'm having my coffee and I go, I feel alive. I feel good. It would have to be literally like the government is like dropping bombs,
right?
Pulling people out of houses.
100%
like, all right,
tax
honey,
rate.
We're heading to Arizona. Let's go.
120 degrees.
It would take a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and my family's been here forever.
True.
We're like 3rd, 4th generation.
I mean,
Californians.
Yeah.
Me and the facts, dude. It's real. It's not a joke.
It's not a joke at all. It's real.
I checked.
It's not
too.
derogatory
I was like,
either.
is it pronounced fags?
Yeah. How should we say this?
No, fags. Had a friend growing up whose last name was Wiener, and people gave him shit. And I was like, could we?
My last name's Hancock. So my name tapes were good.
Dope,
John Hancock.
I was like, you could go by Weiner.
Yeah,
anything. Like, they were proud. They're like, it is Wiener. So I was like, yeah, dude, double down.
Hey, maybe the Wiener Schnitzel. Maybe that was
there. You go.
So where's your wife from then?
Dude, my wife is the best. Okay, my wife. So growing up in Orange County, beautiful women.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Wealthy people, and but a lot of the girls, it's like you're 16, you get a brand new BMW, like in your high school parking lot type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was always like, man, I'd like to find a girl from out of state that was just like low key, cool, modest. She is from California, but she's from a little tiny mountain town. It's the town where the worst fire in California history happened. The entire town burnt down. It's called Paradise.
Okay.
It's above Chico. The fire killed like 109 people. This is like 2017. They just made a movie with Matthew McConaughey, starring as a bus driver that's like getting out of the town. So that's her town. 18,000 structures burned. And I shit you not, like I meet her and like we look at our yearbooks, and her yearbook, I graduated high school in 98. I open her yearbook, it looks like 1988. The guys have mullets. Like her prom song was like the Scorpions. Like
that's pretty legit. Okay.
And I'm like, did you guys not get music up there? Like completely
different
world in this little mountain town. And that's where she's from. And her whole thing was she was obsessed with Gidget and surfing.
Okay.
You know, and was like, I want to be a surfer when I get older. And we eventually met at like a surf party.
Sick.
And I was like, you are different than all the girls around here. And she was like, you are from here, but you are different than all the guys around here. I was like, because who my parents are. And like, and then you just, and like for real, like the love at first sight thing.
Yeah.
I would have said to you, like, that's nonsense. I asked my father, who's been married 55 years ago, like, how did you know mom was the one? He goes,
right.
This is not a lie, son. I'm just going to tell you. It was like there was a neon sign with an arrow pointing at her head going, bzzz.
It is like that.
And when we both met, unbeknownst to me, she went home that night, emailed 2 of her friends and said, I just met the man I'm going to marry. So what I've come to believe is this. I think when you meet the person that you're supposed to have kids with, that's like, it's just this chemical. And then the next year, literally better than any drug. Like so stupid, in love, goofy. Like anybody that was within our hemisphere was like, oh my, stop it. You guys are disgusting. But yeah, we've been married 17 years now.
You and I have a lot in common. That's cool. I grew up in Edmond, Oklahoma. So it's the suburbs outside of Oklahoma City. And so what's funny is what you said about the people, the kids have BMWs. Like that's relative, and I feel in most markets, if you're in the nicer area of the market, Dallas, guaranteed there's BMW chicks and stuff. And so I grew up in Edmond, which was the suburbs. So it was the nicest spot in Oklahoma City area. And my same thing. I go to the military, I come back, and I didn't have anything in common with like where my life experience was versus the girl that dad gave her a BMW. Now she's got a whole college ride and just to fuck off and do party stuff and goes to college. And
why did you join the Marines?
So this is, I want to talk about you on this podcast. This is
I have a long story. We've never met,
just
so everybody knows. And
I wanted to join the military. So I wanted to get in, but I graduated high school with 2 felonies, two misdemeanors, and
I'm
2
sorry,
felonies.
I have to
But they weren't convictions. They were legitimately like, I got in a fight at a party.
Sure.
And I'm sure anybody that's watched this podcast knows my story, but that's what happened. I had the charges, and my recruiter, old school, literally was like, I went in, I was like, dude, this is going to ruin my opportunity. I was working construction with an old guy. He's like, go to the Marines. I was like, okay. Went to the recruiter, said, this is what I got on my plate that I'm up against right now. I made some stupid decisions being an idiot kid at 17. He's like, I'll go with your attorney to the judge and we'll see what we can do. And I was like, I want to. It's good. I was always one of those kids who played with sticks, wanted to join the military.
You wrestle?
Yeah, I wrestled.
Freaking wrestlers,
Marine,
dude.
like right in, you know.
Some shit went down.
Yeah.
You know,
so we got to fire. Yeah.
There
and
we
so
go.
He goes, does it. They're like, the judge is like, he was going to go to juvie anyway because I was a youthful offender. And so they're going to give me 6 months of juvie. And she's like, you can join the Marine Corps. I was like, this is the best thing ever because I wanted to be in the military before. And then I was going to join the military and it expunged my situation. And so that was 2006. So you got to look at like where I'm going. I'm going straight to Iraq.
It's a blessing.
It was a total
completely
blessing.
centralized. Okay.
Yeah. So I honestly was like, and when I got in the Marine Corps, I was like a being down a wrong road, being a bad kid, right? And where I'm coming from and what I'm doing, which is true, right? I wouldn't want my kids to hang out with that kid at that time. But I go to the Marine Corps, I'm like, we're all the same. We just can fight and drink and act like idiots, but it's like harnessed within this realm of the Marine Corps. And I felt welcomed instead of my folks. I grew up very Bible Belt, church on Sundays, very Christian, very conservative, no alcohol.
Sunday and Wednesday.
Correct. Exactly. Wednesday evenings in the youth group. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of was like at 17, like, F this, I'm going to try my own thing. Yeah. Led to that, joined the Marine Corps. And I'm like, these are my people. I'm not deemed a bad kid anymore. And it really reset the entire trajectory of my life. So that's why I joined the Marine Corps.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. But the BMW thing, like, I think it's relative to that. And so I met my wife. She's from Luther, Oklahoma, which she graduated with 40 something people. So she's like, I mean, Oklahoma's not, there's like 2 big towns, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. And if you're 30 minutes out, then you live in the sticks. And so anyways, I've been married 12 years, man. And
that's very similar. Yeah, that's cool, man.
It is cool. It's
awesome.
nice to have somebody that I feel like that type of person, that type of woman, that type of girl is more of a team player than the girl that may have been given everything, which is coming from a now dad and a father raising 2 daughters. So I respect that.
Yeah,
she paid for her own insurance, bro. 100%. She had her own car payment. Same. And these other girls, their dads paid for it.
Same.
I was like,
and just like so natural, like could care less about like, I've never seen her spend more than 15 minutes getting ready for something. Like just doesn't care.
I love that.
And like everyone loves being around her. She lights up a room and it's like, freaking angel, dude.
Yeah,
like
awesome.
You're the best. And I wasn't the best husband in the beginning. I was very immature when we got married. but now like every day I'm just like,
how long have you been married?
17 years.
Awesome.
We have 2 kids. I look at her in the morning and I'm just like, first thing, try to do the gratitude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this doesn't make sense on paper. Like, why is she with me? And when I met her, crazy thing, she was surrounded by, I don't know, guys that were 6'3" to 6'6", professional baseball pitchers.
Oh, wow.
She was training pro pitchers for Scott Boras, who's the biggest agent in baseball.
Holy cow.
And she was their strength and conditioning coach. So she had, when I meet her, I'm fat, I'm a stoner, I'm working in a bank inside a grocery store, like a bank teller.
Dang. How old are you?
You don't want to. 24.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no. When I meet her, I'd already been at the bank for a while. So I'm 25.
Okay.
Working
so you go to high school and you go to
totally.
This.
And people come into high school and they're like in line to
Some
like get
job.
their stuff. And they're like slanging mortgages and shit. And they're like, so Freeman, what's up? Like, how are things going? I'm like, pretty good. Or I would just hide in the back, like with
let some other teller help them or something.
Yeah. And so it didn't register to me that like somebody would want to be with me for something besides money. Right. Because of where I grew up, it's so status based.
True.
And then I look back now and I'm like, oh, this is actually really love. Like she could care less about.
How much easier is life with a life partner like that, man?
Biggest decision you'll ever make. It is giant. It is giant. And we met, we were introduced because I was just on a podcast called Liberty Risk.
Yep. Shout out to Ryan Williams.
And we never met till today. But I said on that podcast, I said that when I met my wife, literally a few nights before I was with her and we met each other, I had said, I'm done with women. And I prayed and I'm like, I'm not good at this. I'm kind of a bachelor for the rest of your life. I'm not a good boyfriend. I'm kind of I'm done. And I said, God, if there's a woman for me, put her on my doorstep. And we had dated a little bit. I had screwed it up and we hadn't been together for a year and a half. Okay. 3 days after I said that prayer, she knocks on my little shitty studio apartment that had a Murphy bed in Laguna Beach. Unbeknownst to me, one of my friends who was like, those two need to be together, had brought her over there.
Whoa.
They saw each other at a bar. She asked like, where's John? And it was like, he lives right up.
Come get him. That's what they said.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So he dumped her off there, took off so that I would be forced to like drive her back.
Wow.
And then we haven't been apart since.
I mean, you can't ignore that sign.
I can't ignore it.
I mean, literally knocking on your door.
I am so dense and so aloof, like a child, that like I need that sort of. And it was the same thing like when I met her about the sign, and I still tried to screw that up. I am a master of like, everything's good, let's blow it all up. And so as I've gotten older, it's like, relax, bub. Yeah. Like, let good things happen. Be thankful. Dang. You don't have to, I don't know where that comes from, screwing things up.
Your siblings like that? Your sisters?
My sisters
they're all squared away?
All squared away. They're awesome.
Are you the youngest, you said?
I'm the youngest. Okay. And like nobody in my family drinks. I'm the only one that's ever been like party boy.
Yeah, I was a black sheep too, man.
I never,
Same.
Yeah, I mean.
That's funny.
I don't know. Just happy to be here.
Yeah, that's right.
Happy to be alive.
Hey, things worked out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But you're a good person. I mean, that's why that happens, I think, you know.
This is your core. I'll say this about growing up in church. You start to ask questions as you get older.
Sure.
Maybe you get rebellious, you go through this stuff. But my core, my inner being, even in my darkest places, when I was so lost, I still knew what was right. I knew what was wrong. I knew there was a God that loved me. I knew that I could have purpose. I knew that I could have direction. And secretly what I really wanted. And that's because of the way I was raised.
Yes.
And I was introduced early on of like, hey man, you're a sinner. You're going to screw up, but there is redemption. You can come back. And without the way I was raised, man, I give props to anybody that figures it out later in life, that's made mistakes and is able to turn their life around. That is a miracle. But I had a base.
Moral compass.
From the get, a very strong moral compass.
You're right. I mean, I haven't dove into it that far, but you're so right.
That's all it is. And like you knew when you got in trouble.
Oh, I knew I was doing
in Oklahoma.
Wrong shit.
You're like,
yeah,
your
mom's right.
Yep.
Like, and honestly, like that.
And mom loves you.
Mom totally, absolutely.
Yes.
And it's funny because the guy that told me to go and talk to the Marine recruiter, he said, "Don't tell your parents," because at that point in my life, I had realized like all the decisions I was making on my own weren't the best, and so I was like. My parents had said they wanted me. My parents kind of ratcheted down, being very Bible belted, and they were like, "You're going to go to a Christian college. You're going to do what we say because you made all these mistakes."
Exact same thing.
And I was like, then I got a little bit more rebellious, and that's why he was like, "You just go. Don't ask for permission," because at that time, my decisions I was making weren't the best. So I was like, "All right, mom, maybe your decisions are the right. Maybe the friend group I was around was the."
So I joke with my parents. It's funny, dude. Very similar, same thing. My sisters both went to Christian schools. My parents went to Christian colleges. They wanted me to go to Christian college.
Yep.
So I picked the one in San Diego that was literally on the ocean.
That's
not because,
legit.
Because it's like, I'm going to surf, drink beer, which you're not supposed to do.
Not supposed to, no.
And go to Mexico and party. But I said to my mom recently, I said, Mom, I go, honestly, like I can't make sense of certain situations I've been in. And you probably feel the same way of like how I didn't get seriously injured or die. And I go, I honestly think it was you and Dad's prayers.
Absolutely.
And she just kind of like, started crying a little and was like, yeah, you think maybe?
Yeah.
And like this mom and dad, and now having kids, I know how I pray for them. I pray for their future spouses. Like, God, please let there be a woman out here that's you protect her and she's the one for them someday, and that they make good decisions and they're not hurt or injured by a dumb friend or a situation they put themselves in. And so, yeah, I mean, I can't really explain.
It's our biggest fears as parents.
Yeah.
Man.
Like I think having godly parents that, and also like not judging me screwing up so bad and probably embarrassing them and then probably being ashamed. I never felt that. All I ever felt was love. And come back
acceptance.
Come back home. We got you. We got you.
Yeah.
We got you. Maybe clean yourself up a little bit, champ.
Yeah.
You know?
They give you good advice. They'd give you the 1-2 that you needed, but you're exactly right. Always there. Always there with open arms, just like Christ, right?
Correct.
You know?
Exactly. And that in itself, which is so interesting because my whole journey with faith, it's gone a lot of different places, but right now it's stronger than it's ever been. And a huge part about that is my parents aren't hypocrites. They modeled that. They're the real article.
You're right.
And a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
You'd have a totally different taste in your mouth if they were hypocrites and you
100%.
watched it your whole life.
And you see that and you go, oh, they have something called wisdom.
Yeah.
And it's not false. It's not for likes on social media. It's not for anything. It's like these people truly love each other. They love their children. And then you're like, my dad, like, I think he's the biggest badass in the world. Guy doesn't cuss. Guy doesn't drink. He was a SWAT cop for 30 years. And all around him, dudes are, they've been married 3-4 times. Their kids hate him. They have problems with alcohol. A lot of them are dead. And they were clowning on him because he's not out partying, all this stuff. And guess what they do now, all these years later?
Asking for
in their 60s and 70s, they call him up.
Of course.
Man, I wish I would have stayed with the mother of my children.
Yep.
Man, you did it. And my dad's right there to be like, yeah, man.
And you had a front row seat.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Given enough time,
yeah,
things play out.
Yeah, well, we talked a little bit off camera about some of this content you're putting out and things like that. And so I kind of want to dive into this because I think this is huge. I've actually had these thoughts. I don't know if I've ever voiced them on social media or anywhere in person. I feel like one of the biggest issues we have in the United States is just the moral compass and the lack of that. That makes sense? Like just the grassroots of Christianity and what it says. I think that's one of the biggest issues that we're losing or we're purposefully pushing away.
I think that's a huge thing. And I think a big part of that is the way we were founded was, hey, you come here, you're Jewish, you're Muslim, you're atheist, you're Christian, good to go.
Yep.
Like this is the melting pot. You can have different beliefs, but we have this foundation of this commonality of principles that we agree on. And that's what makes us all American.
Yes.
I think that is a thing.
We can't figure that out. What you just said.
Correct.
I was pointing at your hands. Like
Mutual
what you just
respect.
said, that we can't all agree on that anymore.
Correct. But I can tell you this from lived experience, man to man, man to woman, face to face. This is how we were designed to communicate. I need to look into your eyes. I need to go, what has this guy been through?
Yeah.
And put myself in their shoes. They put myself in mine. And when it's just a real quick thing, I'm giving my opinion, short sound bites, all of this stuff. It just creates more chaos. I always say we need like a nationwide cookout.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Because
we get along on so many more levels, man.
And having worked, like I've had so many jobs, working in the worst places in California as a paramedic, in the most low-income places, and you're serving them. And then also some of the nicest, richest places where like I went into celebrities' homes on the worst day of their life. And you see the common humanity, and you're like, a lot of this is, we all want the same things.
Humans.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want to be
regardless
loved.
of the status and the money.
Correct. We want to be heard. And I've learned as I've gotten older, like some people, I don't like the word, we have a privilege or whatever, but we all have different experiences.
Sure. We all start on different places.
100%. And that's my belief. That's my belief. I'm a Christian. And I think I mock a lot of the way Christianity is presented with mega church pastors and all that stuff. Drives me up the wall, because when you grow up in church, you know the game.
Yep.
And my hiccup is always like, I love speaking in front of people. I love joking around. I love being in front of a camera. And I'm always like, I could have built a megachurch empire.
Follow Joe.
I could own Southern California as the megachurch guy. Yeah. But I don't think that's what the gospel is.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And I know a hustler when I see him.
Yep.
Takes me 2 seconds.
100%.
Probably from parents that put common sense into your brain. And I think as far as today, like all this stupid, like, oh, we're on the precipice of civil war and all. Everyone shut up.
Just chill out.
Pump your brakes.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Like,
if you show up to the cookout, you wouldn't think that.
Yeah, I mean, I drove outside today like I do every day, and it was beautiful.
Nobody's civil warring me.
I met a bunch of blue-haired people. I met a bunch of Marines. I met everybody, and we all were just like, hey, dude. Like,
just
thumbs up, brother.
Exactly.
And nobody, I'm telling you, as a person who has been online way too much because it's what I do.
Yep.
Literally, it's what I do. Nobody, not once, ever has said anything negative to me in person. I am still waiting.
They don't. Of course they won't. It's a whole nother world.
But they'll say
horrible stuff to you on social media. Yeah. I've had death threats on social media,
100%.
Never in person.
100%.
For the craziest of things.
Right.
So
I mean, like, can everyone just start being grown-ups in the room?
Exactly.
I think that might be, but also something else I realized too. And I realized this very much so in 2020. And I'm not saying this to be mean, because everyone's wired different, but most people, I believe, are followers. They are not leaders.
Yeah.
There are people who are real leaders.
Right.
And they will stand up in a room and say, no, that's incorrect, when there's 1,000 other people down on one knee, following the crowd. Most people, the biblical thing of like, our sheep, true, just true. I don't think people realize that they don't have to be that way. And I want more people to be bold.
Stand up for what's right.
That's
Not
America.
pick up the stone.
Yes, correct. And I can sit with somebody I completely disagree with politically and go, I understand that you're doing what you think is right.
Yeah.
But can you take a moment and not call me names? And can I tell you why I think the way I think?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't just put me in a category. I'm not putting you in a category. And that's...
we don't fit in a box. I don't think humans are meant to fit in a box. I mean, we probably have many things we align on and a few things we disagree
100%.
on, just as all humans do. Even with you probably and your wife, right? Like, imagine that, right?
Totally.
And so that's exactly how it's supposed to be. It's okay to do that, but we don't all have to be this way or that way. It's not black and white.
It's my favorite thing. And everyone's like, look, it is very simple. I did it intentionally. I never talked about God or politics the first few years I was on social media. One reason was because I was well aware that social media only wanted one thing said. And if you said something else, your voice was silenced.
Right.
And if you're trying to build a business,
True.
Very tough to do.
Very tough to do.
Very tough if you're not saying what the algorithm wants you to say. But now
I feel like controversy does better.
Well,
now.
Because look, everyone's like, when you go to the dinner table where they say, don't talk about God or politics.
Yes.
This is like, to
old
me,
school 90s neighbors.
Two of the most interesting things we discuss as humans. Why are we here and how are we governed?
Yep.
Oh, just shut
Don't
it.
talk about that.
Shut it. Don't.
Yeah.
No, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Grow up. Grow up.
Exactly.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Do you feel like that kind of content does better though? Being polar opposite now? Being like on one side or the other, choosing a fence? Not that it's right or wrong, just does it do better performing?
Here's where it gets weird. I'm a person who feels that I can get along with anybody in any room you put me in. Anywhere. Literally. On the planet. Like, I will find a friend. I'll find multiple friends. And we'll be good to go. And that comes probably from a desire that I love people, but also like being the youngest, being the only boy. I like people to like me.
Yeah,
because I was used to that growing up. Yeah, you're like, oh, you
want to be liked. We all want to be liked.
And then if you're funny, everyone loves a funny guy. But for me, there were people that really liked me and were encouraging to me. And the second they found out I didn't think the same way they did, you're like dead to them. I'm like, and I go,
I'm the same guy.
I go, why would you assume because you laughed at something I said? Like, we view the world differently because we have different experiences. Or you went to a college and were told things that maybe weren't true. Or your wife is like pretty gnarly and she shoved this stuff into your head and you want to still get laid. So you're regurgitating.
Some facts there, man.
Right?
Yeah.
So the second I started talking about that stuff, you instantly lost. Like, I lost 20,000 followers in 30 days.
Oh, no way.
But
let's get into that.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fascinating. To me, it's all an experiment, right? That's what social media is. I started with social media mocking the influencer and I would see YouTube families that I'm like, you are so fake. And then they're like, you're making how much a month? Like prostituting your children in front of a camera.
Okay, so I have young enough kids that watch that, like those kids stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit's crazy. The money those kids made.
Wild.
Got in on it. It's wild.
I've never shown my kids. I
Yeah,
don't.
savvy.
I don't.
I
They
don't
don't
blame
need
you.
that.
Yeah, and they're at the age.
Yeah, why would I do that?
I don't blame you one bit.
But then I gained 20,000 followers.
So the offset,
So
because
they
of
just
your opinion.
Dink, like it just offsets it. And you go, okay, cool. It's fascinating. It's sad that people are so easily.
But you can turn it off, right? Like unfollow you.
You can unfollow.
Right?
It's
That's
a beautiful
what it is.
thing.
Yeah.
Tap that unfollow.
Sure.
You don't have to look at my stupid face if I'm saying something you
You
don't
don't like. I guess
please
that's the thing.
don't.
Yeah.
But people, what I have found, and I've tried to communicate with these people, they want to share the way they feel and try to show you why you're wrong.
Sure. Sell you on it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so what I found is those dialogues, they don't go anywhere.
No.
They are lock, step, and barrel, locked in. And I'm okay with that. That's your thing. I completely disagree.
Right.
I think those are terrible ideas. I think that's a bad idea. I think this is a good idea. But they think this is a good idea. And they think what I have to say is a bad idea. So can we just agree to disagree?
Yeah, classic.
Perhaps.
Right. Let's rewind back on your story. You meet your wife. You're at the bank. What do you get into next? You say you've done tons of things. Let's dive into all the things you've done.
So the Liberty Risk podcast, I kind of ran through it. Again, all my uncle, my grandfather were firefighters, very successful. My dad was a cop, grew up near Pendleton and El Toro Marine Base, super fascinated with the military from the time I'm a kid, and cops and firefighters. And like, all I did was play guns as a kid, but also grew up hunting. Like, one of my first memories, I shot a 22 when I was 4 years old. I signed this thing called the SEAL Challenge Program, which is like, you pass the PFT, I've already got my ASVAB, done all the MEPS and all that stuff. And then you get slotted for a BUDS class after you complete A school.
Okay.
So I am like, done my research. I've taken the tour of the BUDS facility before everything. I've hung out with active duty SEALs. They've talked, and like their main thing is like, John, just be the gray man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, they tell you.
Physically,
Absolutely.
bub, you're good to go. You're a stud. Between your ears, keep your mouth shut. Let that big personality come out a couple years down the line. And most importantly, do not volunteer for anything.
Yes.
So literally day one, like we have to fly back to Great Lakes, Illinois. There's one Navy boot camp.
Okay.
And they're like looking on paper, the guy, whoever he was, he's like, oh, this guy's 21 years old. He's almost 22. Got 70 units of college. Like, would you volunteer to, I don't think he asked me. I think he told me, like, you're in charge of the group.
Okay.
So coming in, like, they see, like, I'm the guy in charge of getting him on the plane, this and that.
Sure.
And then they ask, like, we need someone to fold boxes, like to send back all the recruits' clothes and their shoes, like stuff that needs to go back home. We need a volunteer. I raise my hand. And
you
like,
broke rule number one.
Correct. And then they're like, you're the RPOC, which is Recruit Petty Officer Chief, which is like, you're the head recruit of these 70 guys. Okay. And I think I'm a genius in boot camp because like I can follow, it's like Forrest Gump. I can follow instructions. I can fold my underwear. I know how to brush my teeth. I know to wash my ass.
You are the
when
guy
I take a
boot
shower,
camp, bro.
Yeah. And like there's kids that are 17 that do not have a high school diploma that are like mouth breathing.
Yes.
Like, and they need some help.
It's so, mind blowing. You recognize it when you go to boot camp. Yes.
So I'm helping everybody and I end up smoking the PFT. Me and one other guy. And so then I have to get up earlier in the morning. Long story short, I end up getting prednisone. It's a drug called Medrolone 80, which is a prescription steroid.
Okay.
Because I have a really bad ear infection from the pool.
Okay.
And I have bad ears from something called surfer's ears from being in the water so long. Basically bone growth. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
Never heard of this.
So same thing happens to sea lions. When you're in cold water and there's wind, human beings, the bone grows in your ear to the point that you can't hear anymore.
Whoa.
And then if you get any water or any fluid in there, it just gets infected because it sits there. So what you have to do, I can't hear out of this ear right now. This is 100% closed. This one's not because I had it drilled. They drill the bone down and then, you know, the bone will regrow.
You got this from surfing?
Get it from surfing all the time in the Pacific because it's cold. So I get an ear infection. They give me these drugs.
Yeah.
And at my age, I think, hey, if I take more of these quicker, it'll clear up quicker.
Oh,
but also the Navy, when you're in boot camp, if you get medication, the procedure is they lock it up. It's contained. There's a guy whose job is to open it up and give it to you. For some reason,
everybody's treated like an idiot.
Like a baby.
Boot camp.
They do not take my meds. So I'm just cruising around boot camp
with your meds
for like a week with my meds, dropping like 3 of these horse pills and just
overdoing it.
Yeah. So I end up thinking, because I'm in steroid-induced psychosis.
Yeah.
That like this is all a test.
Do you get what? Did you literally like get into a mental state?
Gone.
No way. From
Fucking
prednisone?
Gone, dude.
What do you remember? Like what you were? How
I remember? Yeah. And I went through the whole dude. This
I would have not even known this was a thing.
I literally just told this story on the last podcast I was on for the first time because my mom was like, "Don't ever tell this story," but it's the craziest.
Well, I think people need to know
that ever happened.
To not do that,
right? So, I end up going AWOL.
Oh my
I end up
gosh.
getting off base and I can run.
Yeah.
Like I'm clipping like 5-20 miles. Like I'm a cross country runner, end up off base in a bad neighborhood.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Cops.
Yeah.
All this stuff. They bring me back to base. Anyways, I end up spending Christmas 2001 and New Year's 2002 in the psych ward.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then they give me, and I think they gave this to me because they were like, we screwed up. My parents fly back and I'm like, I didn't do anything. They gave me this medicine. I took it. I didn't take it as directed.
Right.
But they weren't supposed to give it to me. So they just give me something called an entry level separation.
Okay.
Which is like,
just
you should have never been here.
Yes.
Not honorable.
Basically
not dishonorable.
Yeah.
Like just thanks for coming out.
Net neutral here.
Didn't work. And I'm devastated when I come home, just like.
And they're probably thinking you're crazy because they're like, you went AWOL. Dude, like they're in their minds, right?
I had prepared never for anything harder in my life, and I'd never failed at anything at this point. And I think it's like the end of the world.
Right.
And my dad's like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know.
So you started social media. How much long ago then? Because I don't know how long you've been on.
So I tried to be a firefighter, which is like, again, if you want to be a firefighter, there's 50 states. If that's really your calling,
you'll find a spot.
The hardest place in the world to get hired is coastal California.
I believe
that.
But
I'm like, I'm going to work in coastal California. The competition's insane.
Yeah.
So that ends up from the time I start to when I finally get hired takes about 7 years.
Okay.
And this is like
7 years.
Oh, bro. And you are working on an ambulance. You're reserving.
What's the pay?
It's insane. Southern California firefighters.
Okay.
I'm talking about that are part of a municipal department.
Yes. So it's better than the rest of the United States.
Work 10 days a month. You can work as much overtime as you want.
Okay.
You make insane money. They all make 6 figures. You can look it up. You can look on and see, because they're all public servants, what they make. A lot of them make 200 grand, over 200 grand a year as firefighters.
Okay.
And then you get a great retirement. You have great medical.
Sure.
Everyone
10 days a month, bro.
Everyone loves a firefighter.
You work out, you're eating.
Yeah, you get to wear suspenders and the helmet.
Yeah,
you know, like everything's great.
You're rescuing cats and shit.
Yes. And if you're working in a slow area, it's like you actually kind of sleep at night.
Okay.
But then there's like gnarly fire departments where you are
downtown LA.
Very busy. Correct. Like Skid Row and stuff.
Yeah.
So I get hired once. I don't pass the academy. I was telling you before when we were talking.
Yeah.
I am terrible. I cannot tie knots. I have no mechanical aptitude. What is a firefighter? They love dudes that are like, do you know what a Phillips head is?
Yes.
Do you know what a flathead is? Like dudes that were raised that is what it is.
Right.
You're like the opposite of a guy that builds things. You're like a construction worker, but like as stuff's falling apart, you put out the fire, you got to tear stuff down.
Sure.
You're a cook. You gotta know how to cook in the station. Yep. You're a team player. It's like a frat.
Yeah.
Right?
It totally is.
I'm the opposite of that. But I surf.
Yeah.
So I was like looking at my friends, like, you're going to Fiji for 10 days? Yeah, man. I did some trades at the station. And I'm off to Fiji to surf. And it's the sickest lifestyle
So
ever.
you were attracted to the lifestyle more than the gig itself. That makes sense.
The worst.
Because you have to do a job you don't like.
No, you want someone who has a passion, who it is their calling.
When I talked to you a minute ago, you said you were a paramedic. So you ended up being a paramedic, going through all of that. And then while you're a paramedic, I'm guessing you're probably shooting content.
Never.
No,
absolutely not.
Kind of a no-no.
So to get hired as a firefighter, as a police officer, you got to go through very extensive background checks.
Okay.
Last thing they want to see is somebody acting the fool on social media.
Even if you're not in uniform?
Absolutely.
Kind of. Yeah, they're like that guy.
I mean, look, it's like once you get off probation, and you cannot get fired, much like a teacher that gets tenure, unless you do something horrific, you're going to keep your job. That's a different thing.
Gotcha.
But as you're in the process of trying to get, it's a no-no.
Scrutiny.
So I never touched any of that stuff. Meanwhile, I'm seeing things on YouTube and going like, oh, I could do man on the street stuff. Give me that all day long.
Sure.
Like I remember, what was the Wall Street protests that were going on?
Oh my gosh.
You know
I can't keep up with the protests, bro.
Dude, it's all right. But I wanted to go down there. It was after the financial collapse.
Okay.
And there was all the Wall Street protests. I wanted to go down there dressed as like a rich guy with a sweater and like talk to all the
interview people?
The angry kids and be like this is before you see stuff like this all the time.
Oh, people blow up like that now.
Right. So I wanted to do that in like 2012, but I'm still trying to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
And
you would have killed it.
Would have been, to be honest. That would have been the move to do.
It would have.
But after the second time of the firefighter thing ending, I was like, you're not a firefighter.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? So I'm sitting around and I got 2 like babies at this time.
And you stayed on the department to pay the bills, I'm assuming.
I stayed as a paramedic.
Okay.
But at this point, I had failed my second fire academy.
Okay.
And I don't have a job at this point. I still have a paramedic license. And my wife's like, you got to get a job. So what do? I get the most ridiculous job. I become a night janitor at an elementary school.
No.
Because I wanted to be around nobody. I was probably clinically depressed.
Yeah.
So I'm cleaning an entire school every night. And like the parents of the kids there are looking at me like, is this guy an ex-con?
They wonder why you're there.
Is he, like this guy's sketchy. No one's
True.
like a night janitor if life's going good.
True.
Some of them are, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I'm sorry, janitor's not the preferred nomenclature. It's custodian.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I did not know that's
offensive.
changed too.
I learned that when I was there.
Yeah. Okay.
But at night, I'm by myself. I wanted to be by myself. and I'm listening to podcasts all night long.
Yep.
My entire shift as I'm cleaning an entire school. And I'm thinking, what did I do wrong here? What were my missteps in life? And I'm going through every decision I ever made. First thing is, anytime I met resistance and didn't meet success right away, I would quit. Right?
Yep.
Because things always came easy for me.
Right.
Just
what kind of podcasts were you listening to during this period of time? Because obviously it's making you think.
A lot of comedy podcasts.
Okay.
A lot of comedy podcasts. A lot of Joe Rogan. But also, financial, anything and everything.
Yeah.
And trying to think like, how do I be a better man? What are my strengths? And then realizing like, here's your strengths.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not alpha male guy. You love the idea of that. Like you love the idea of like, you get to be a Navy SEAL or you get to be a firefighter or you get to be a cop.
Yeah.
Physically, you can do these things.
Sure.
But that's not who you are. And that's okay. But I held on to this like, I want to do this thing. I want this, like, this is what a man is. And I think it comes from like being a little boy looking out and going, this is what a man is. And then I realized, wait a second. You're funny.
Yeah.
You love entertaining people. You're very creative. You're very sensitive. You're not that guy.
And that's okay.
Fine. You love being in front of a camera. And so I started as a night janitor making content on my phone.
No
and
way,
it was
bro.
The funniest, oddest, weirdest stuff. No one knew who I was, and they just see this dude at night. And I probably would have got fired from the job if they found out.
But you're by yourself.
I would go into the classrooms and I'm like going through teachers' drawers. I would pretend the school was haunted, and I'm running with the janitor stuff.
This is comedy.
I'm in the bathrooms and I'm singing songs, and I have all these different storylines. I go into like the kinder.
Okay.
I did tell people I was a fired firefighter.
Yeah.
So like in the kindergarten classroom, there's a little like play school fire station. And I'll go in there and like recreate as I'm filming it, like what happened with me. And
this is funny.
And so from like room to room as I'm cleaning it, people are like, this guy, is he insane?
What platform did you start on?
Instagram.
Okay. It's your
shooting
clips
the easiest
of this?
thing. Yeah. And so I'm doing that, and people are like, dude, you're going to blow up.
Yeah.
Like,
it's real comedy.
So bizarre. And I would share, like I would sit in my car on my break and like, I'll just tell you, like I was drinking, and it's right when weed became legal in California. And I was like,
so you're high and drunk?
It was the first time in my life. And from the Christian upbringing, I was always like, I cannot let mom and dad know. Even as like at this point, I'm 37, 38.
Yeah.
Like I cannot, for the first time in my life, I was like, I don't care.
Dang.
Turns out
you just let it go.
Turns out my parents don't either. They love me.
Oh,
they're like,
dang.
So that starts to go. And then it caught on with surfers.
Yeah.
Because
were you talking about this types of stuff? That's why you were worried about it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Talking about everything. Just like,
drinking,
like be be who you are.
Yeah.
Talk about your problems.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I started dropping knowledge that only surfers know. That's like deep cuts.
Yeah. Shit I wouldn't have picked up on being a non-surfer.
And surfers are super loyal. And it just so happens in that world, surfing's a small world, but everybody's fascinated with surfing.
Yeah. Oh, we all are. That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
And within surfing, there's literally there was at the time one funny guy. Okay. And he was out of the picture. He was having his own stuff.
Yeah.
So there's nobody in that space that's a surfer that's funny. So then I become a surf comedian.
So it's very directed now.
100%. And then I realized,
and you're still doing janitorial custodial work.
Correct.
Okay.
And eventually I get back. I'm like, I can't be this custodian.
Yeah.
And I go back to being a paramedic for a couple years. This keeps building. And at one point, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am making way more money being myself on the computer than I am as a paramedic.
Wow.
And this goes on for like 9 months. I'm like, look how much I made this month.
What was the first dollar you turned on social media? And then how did you do it?
Surfer Magazine.
So they're like, dude, we're going to pay you for
Surfer
this.
Magazine was, said, dude, you're hilarious. Will you come meet with us? And this big company owns like Outside Magazine, all these magazines, have a meeting, and they're like, we want to do a series with you for our YouTube page.
Sick.
And our social media, which had like 2 million followers at the time. So we did a whole show Super funny.
Dang.
About a middle-aged surfer
Yeah.
in California. And that was the first dollar I ever made.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. And then it just...
What year is this? Just so I can put it in context.
2019. Okay. And then right before I turn 40.
So you were newer. I mean, I would say you still hit social media at a earlier era, I feel.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
I mean, that's at least for me. I mean, I wasn't putting on there, which is cool.
Yeah, there was a page called Kook of the Day.
Yeah.
And the owner of it was always anonymous, and he wanted a face for it.
Okay.
And they had over 1 million followers. So I became the face of that. And then as we were talking about, when you're and like every celebrity that surfs or is loosely, I mean, like Jason Momoa like followed it.
Oh, damn.
That's
cool.
Steve-O.
Yeah.
Steve-O was a huge fan. Steve-O's in The Last Jackass. He's wearing a Kook of the Day shirt.
That's sick.
And so I ended up doing a show with them. And we have Steve-O as a guest, and I surf with Steve. And then that blows up. And then that led to all of these opportunities.
Wow.
And then here I am now, these years later, going, you silly Billy.
Yeah.
The timing was perfect. You take all these experiences that you learned from, and it makes you a richer, deeper person and comedian because you have more stuff to draw from.
True.
More life experience.
True.
Had I got any sort of recognition or made any money when I was 25, I would have flamed out like faster than you could have imagined.
And think about all the other things too, like your firefighting and all that. If that would have excelled, or if something would have happened in the opposite direction, and you probably would have. I mean, I don't know who's to say, hindsight's 20/20, but I would think that most people like, get a little accolades, and then you moved up to driver, and then you moved up to here, and then you're like, you would have been denying what your greatest gift is, which is your natural gift.
So.
You know?
I think so.
That's
and it's everything I ever wanted to do the last 6 years, I've got to do, and it's been in the coolest, most unique way. Things have happened that I never thought it would happen. Here's a fun one. I tell you, I was on the Joe Rogan show, the biggest show in the universe.
No.
I wasn't physically on it.
How's that work?
So I did a commercial for a company that I was the face of called Bug Assault, which is that little toy gun that you pour salt in that shoots flies.
I know those those shoot the bugs. That's legit.
Brian Simpson, who's a hilarious comedian, just started talking about it because we got a bunch of those Bug Assaults into the club, the mothership in Austin, and he's on Rogan, and they pull up my commercial and they watch the entire thing, and they're talking about me.
And you're in a commercial?
It's me.
That's legit,
the whole thing.
man.
I'm a cowboy with the thing. And the next day, Bug Assault had the biggest sales they've ever had because he's the male Oprah.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Of course.
So like, and in my head as a janitor at nighttime, I was like, what's the difference between me and these people on Joe? Like, I could be on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, in this weird, bizarre way, my face is on it with this company. And I don't believe in manifestation and all this stuff, but the second I took a breath, stopped trying to be somebody I wasn't, leaned into my strengths, that's when life got so exciting.
How could you share that with somebody else? Because I feel the same way in a different aspect, different story, but like, how do you tell your younger version or somebody else maybe that's listening to this or watching this?
So for me, I always like we talked about this. I love surfing. My wife loves surfing. My kids do not like when I try to give them surf instruction. I think it takes a person who's maybe outside of your immediate closeness, family, whatever, close friend, somebody to go, look, man, you're really good at this. You know, you could do something really cool with this. It literally, though, is a marathon. Things don't happen immediately. I think everything, and I'm still in the developmental phase. I think everything takes 10 years to build something.
Real.
Right?
Yes.
For real.
I agree.
Yeah, not a year, not 6 months, and everybody wants instant
What's human nature?
Stuff.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was I'd heard enough times from other people, like, and it was even like, I don't regret any of the fire stuff, paramedic, because I was learning about people and seeing things and experiencing the real world. But those guys that pulled me aside that were like, we like you, John. You're a good guy. But like, this isn't the place.
You shouldn't be here.
Yeah, like go be free, little birdie.
Yeah,
go do your thing. And there's never been a better time in history. And I say this, if there is something inside your soul.
Yeah.
And for me, it's since I was in the 6th grade. And I think a lot of people, by the time you're in 8th grade, you kind of know what you're good at, what you dig, what you have an affinity for. It never went away. Every day the thought would be like, I want to do that. I want to be the funny guy. I want to get paid to do a commercial. I want to make people laugh. I used to dream about being here right now on a podcast. I want to be on a podcast with someone and talk.
That's legit.
You know what I'm saying? And that never left me. I'm getting chicken skin right now.
Well, I think you hit on something about the childhood thing because it's, I mean, what you asked me inside earlier before we shot anything on content wise, but it's like, what drew you to Southern California? What made you want to come back out here? I say my one liner is always like, well, I was out here in the Marine Corps, but the truth is I was watching Jesse James in Long Beach when I was a kid on Motorcycle Mania, and I was watching Point Break as this movies, and I was watching all these things, and like I always had this vision, like I just loved the culture and the vibe. And that's never left me. And so like there's things I think that are rooted into us as children that we really still love that follow us all the way to adulthood. But like logics and what you're supposed to do is distracting you for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
So that was a key thing I took from podcasts. First, just to go back, if something is constantly never leaves you, you're thinking about it. That is your soul telling you that's what you're supposed to do. As long as it's not something that's hurting other people.
Of course.
This is what you are supposed to be doing. Your subconscious will not let it go. It's like, I'm a, whatever it is. It could be I'm a firefighter.
Yeah.
I'm a construction guy.
It could be.
I'm in finance. Like you just keep going. But that leap, this is what I learned from podcasts. I heard that so many hours listening to people, and I realized, what is the difference between you and me? They took a risk. The best things in life are on the other side of fear. It's terrifying. And Rogan would say it a lot. He'd be like, people are slaves to this little job that you go to. And it's hard when you're preconditioned. Elementary school, junior high, high school, sit down, shut up, listen to the teacher, blah, blah, blah. But then you start looking at people you respect that have built great things, could be huge businesses, huge empires. What did they do? They had balls, they had guts, they took a risk. And all you do is you're going to meet with a lot of failure. You course correct and you keep going. You don't stop. And that is it. Some people start out strong, they quit. Yep. You just don't quit. And if you have a burning sensation inside your heart that's like, this is going to be my life's direction, it's your life direction until you stop breathing and you take your everlasting dirt.
Right.
And it's beautiful.
But enjoy the journey, because if you're aligned with it, then that's all that matters.
Do you understand? And I know you'll get this. I hated being micromanaged by like an assistant manager. Yeah. And I've worked in an office and like in other jobs where it's just, there's some person and you're just like, this is my life. Yeah, I'm making good money. We have killer insurance. Then you're like, they got me.
Yeah.
They got me.
Golden handcuffs.
Yeah. And then the other thing when it comes to finances, and I told you before, thank God for my wife because she's smart. The whole thing of like, don't have debt. Don't buy shit that you shouldn't buy.
Yeah.
Don't get over your skis and all that. Sure. Like people ask me, they're like, you don't have to make a ridiculous amount of money
to do that.
You can if you want. You can live very comfortably if you don't have to have ridiculous things.
Very true.
And
very
pay
true.
off all your stuff. All my cars are paid off.
Yeah.
Here's a big one.
Freedom.
No one wants to hear this. I don't have a mortgage.
That's legit.
I haven't had a mortgage for a long time. And guess what? If I did, I'd be shitting my pants right now because I'm in a slow spot with my quote career or business. But
you don't care.
Most people, that's like, okay, and then the stress kills them and they die.
True.
I watched it happen.
The cycle happens forever.
Right. And the only reason I don't have that is because I had smarter people than me around me that were like, here's what we're going to do. No, you don't need to eat sushi every day.
Be smart here.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if I seem carefree,
it's because you are.
I am. And it was intentionally designed that way. And you could do
When did you start that journey? Because most young guys don't start that, right? Like in your 20s and stuff. When did you start that? Like, dude, your wife or what?
Wife.
Okay.
So I had stupid credit card debt didn't understand interest. You could not tell me it wasn't just a little magic piece of plastic that I don't know.
It worked.
I use it. It's not cash, but
right.
And that getting out of that, it's the Dave Ramsey shit.
It really is, Dave
It
Ramsey.
really is.
Shout out to Dave Ramsey for this one.
And then like I don't care what I drive.
Right.
I don't care like about that
but
sort of stuff.
Did you ever? Like, did you really
Never.
ever? Like,
I
personally?
never,
Like,
no,
maybe felt like you needed to, but you didn't.
I never did. I'm just really dumb with money. Like, if I think about what I could have saved right now, but for me, it's all like eating out.
Right. Oh, okay. Okay. So that's your crutch. That's not
it.
terrible.
Like just dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And like silly things like prepare your own food.
Right.
Make a PB&J.
Right. Right.
You know?
What do you think about people that are like drawn to that type of stuff though? 'Cause I've
grew
always
up
been a
around
card guy.
I grew up around
cars.
I grew up around it.
Yeah. Even when I couldn't afford it, I would do it myself. Right.
Well, look, life is short. There's two mentalities. Like, and I know I can tell you this, being around people that have a pension, that retired at 50,
Sure.
that were cops or firefighters.
Yeah.
They know they got $8,000 coming in every month till the day they die.
Right. Right.
Unless the whole
Yeah.
retirement
right,
system
for sure.
collapses.
Correct.
Okay.
Which.
And they have all the toys. They have jet skis. They have motorcycles. They have nice cars. They have a house in Mammoth or a condo in Mammoth, a place at the river. And
Super
like,
sick.
I thought that's like what I grew up around.
Yeah.
Well, and then I grew up around people in huge houses. I have no idea how they made money because I knew nothing about money. And when I started doing what I'm doing now, it's the first time I sat down with wealthy people, and all I would do was like, I want to get in a room with these guys and pick their brain.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what an LLC is? I have no idea. Do you know you can write golf off?
What?
You're working for a golf? I can go play golf and write it off?
And get paid?
Yeah. This is your job. I can write surfing off. You can write surf. I went to the Indonesia to surf. I can write that off.
That's
and then
legit.
you find out, like you get around these guys and you're like, America's the greatest.
Yes, once you start to understand
What?
it, exactly.
What? But for people that enjoy those things, I know a lot of people and they're like, look, I'm going to die. So I'm going to live my life and I enjoy these things. They bring me joy. As long as that doesn't become your God.
Yes.
Far out, brother. Get after
Yeah,
it.
but I think having that foundation that you have with like the low debt and your personal expenses is it allows you to not to do those things without being stressed out.
My wife, she would be like, this guy's a total dirtbag. He could sleep in a sleeping bag anywhere.
It's about you.
Yeah, and be completely content, like I would be.
Yeah.
And that's just me. Like for instance, we're redoing our home right now.
Yeah.
That was completely outdated.
Okay.
And I was like, what?
Why?
And now that she has done those things, I'm like, oh, you created this beautiful living space. And you're right. It did suck. I just didn't care. But
Gotcha.
it takes sometimes a person like that. She sees that like, I want to beautify this place. I want to make it nice. You know what I mean?
But you guys have still been able to do it without the stress of overextension.
We have. But again, this is the other thing that I think nobody talks about. Why can we do that? Her parents were smart.
Generationally,
My parents were
passed
smart.
on the knowledge.
Correct.
Yes.
We are living, I am living a good life because people before me made good decisions.
100%.
Put themselves in positions where they took risks. They were smart. And I always just go, and then I break it down even more. I'm like, why am I driving on these beautiful streets? Oh, well, someone somewhere that's much smarter than me figured out how to make a city.
True.
Why
Took
did I
a
get to
risk.
go? And like, there's great. And so then you start to go, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What is my skill set? What can I do to try to make the world better
Yeah.
while I'm here? And I
Right,
think
right.
so many people just sit back and it's never been easier. Be fat, dumb, lazy, and entertained.
Mail it in. Right.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And-
The entertainment. Right. Social media has been a blessing to you, but it could be a curse for a lot of people to sit there and just continue to consume this information and then compare themselves.
This is something recently that I'm like, oh, this stuff's really dangerous. Because I will look, if you looked at my average screen time per day, it's not good. And
I'm sure mine's not either.
had times where I've got stuck in a loop and my wife has to like,
Pull you out.
brother, you're losing it.
Yeah, I can see that.
You think that's real?
See
That's
that.
not real, bub.
Same.
But when you're like this, you start to think it's real. And then you go, wait, why did I start this? Have fun with this. Keep this healthy.
Yeah, because when it doesn't become fun
No.
anymore,
And for so many people, it is bad.
it is bad.
Yeah.
If they're not utilizing it as a tool to help themselves or express themselves, or it's not fun, then I don't think, then it can totally be a bad tool. And I think for most people watching social media in general, it is that way.
It is. And I have no idea where it's going to go.
Me neither.
But I'll tell you this, like, we were talking about this too. The relationships, the real physical relationships I have formed with people will not go away wherever social media goes. And that means more to me than anything.
Yes.
And if there's any ingredient, like people are always like, how do you make money on social media? I'm like, I don't. I make money because I said yes to every single meeting, and 9 out of the 10 of them went nowhere, but one did. And then another one did. And I went and I met people. And if people dig you and you're like-minded, then they want to work with you.
Right.
Simple as that.
And your relationship, like real relationship is cultivated and there's opportunity in that.
That's it. So it's the human thing. This, all it ever was to me was a platform to display whatever gifts or talents I think I have. And my wife had to listen to me for years go, I'm so funny. I could do that. And then she called bullshit. She's like, you talk so much shit. Do it. Do it or shut up.
Yeah.
And I went,
called you out.
This is me. I went, I have permission? She's like, what are you talking? Yeah, you have permission. You can just do things. And it's the greatest discovery of my life is like, you can create things.
Yes.
Then you go out and there's strangers that then become friends that will help you.
Yes, exactly.
And that's
what's
business.
cool about the social media part is it's aligned with what you enjoy in the first place because other people find you and like you said, surfing, golfing, all of these things, and they're attracted to the same thing. So that is cool about social media.
Yeah.
Is you do find your tribe. You do find your vibe like that.
And you can play it, to me, though it is an experiment. There's a real way that I could lay out for you. You want to be smart about this and have nobody know what you actually think. Because that's what I used to do.
Yeah.
I would filter in my real beliefs, but in a very
strategic way.
Yes. To where like, if you knew what I was talking about, you're like, wink, wink. But most people think that guy thinks just like I think. They interpret it like the way they interpret it.
Right.
And if you're funny, you
can't tell if it's true or if
you're
it's
their
a laugh.
guy. And to me, I just had to step back and go like, there are huge issues in the world.
Yeah.
The world is burning.
Sure.
It always has been.
Always has been, yeah.
And you understand human nature. And I was like, let's go a little different direction with this. And that's where I'm currently at.
Yeah. Yeah. Where can people find you on social media? Let's do that.
Don't ever use your real name like I did.
It's not a bad thing. It's the only way to go, honestly, I think.
At Jonathan Wayne Freeman.
Okay.
So that is
Do you use your full name?
I use my full name, or John Wayne Freeman. Like you can Google me, you can see all the stuff I've done. But my primary thing is on Instagram, and just at Jonathan Wayne Freeman. That's kind of my hub.
Is Instagram?
Yeah,
that's your drug of choice, I would say,
it
for
is.
some people, right?
Hey.
Do you do TikTok or no?
Fill me up. Dude, that's the funniest thing ever. Here's another tip.
Sick. We're listening.
TikTok. I have a good size following, but TikTok's my experimental page.
Okay.
So I'll drop whatever BS comes into my head on TikTok. And if that pops, I know it's going to pop on Instagram. So I don't even look at that. I don't talk to anybody on there. It's completely
You just test ground there.
It's a testing tube to see. I know if it works there.
Yeah.
It'll work over here.
That makes sense. And it's shown proven, right? You have a good
Yeah.
that works.
I've done the
Take that
research.
tip. Yeah, no joke. Nice. What about long form content? I asked you about that earlier. You do YouTube and things like that?
Yeah. So I've been on a ton of podcasts, and I had that show with Surfer.
Do you do anything specific? Like, do you have a specific channel on YouTube that you post content to?
I have my own podcast too.
Oh, sick.
That's another thing, you guys.
Yeah.
Like try in life when you see something early on, get involved with that.
Yeah.
Like in 2009, I was listening to Adam Carolla when he went digital.
Okay.
I was listening to Rogan in the ambulance on my, what was it called? It wasn't an iPod.
Dude, they had Zunes. You remember Zunes? Like Zune, and then you had
Dude,
an
it was
iPod
like-
Nanos, and then the ones with the little video.
It was like the one that played music. What was
Yes.
that?
Oh man, I don't
But you
remember
could
what that
also
one's called.
find, like, if you were close enough to a hotel with Wi-Fi. And I would listen, and I was like, oh, this is going to be big.
Yeah.
Because this is where it's at. Like, you sit and talk to somebody, and you're a fly on the wall. But again, I waited a long time.
So did I.
You know what I mean?
And
but
I listened to it. But I
that
didn't
being
do it.
said, let me say something else to you, which was a huge hurdle to get over in my head. I'm too old. At 37, I was like, all my dreams are behind me. I will never be a success. I should have done this at 22. I'm too old. Horse shit. 40 ain't shit. 50 isn't. 60 isn't. Like, just do it.
Start.
You are a unique individual voice, human, and there's nobody like you in the history of the world. And however you filter the reality you're experiencing during this life will come out in its own way, and you have no idea. There's people that just bake cakes on YouTube, and they make a great living.
Wow.
And they display the cakes.
That's a good point.
You be yourself. It's the golden era. It's the gold rush. And you can do it. So
How
your
do you
new
prevent
dad
from getting overwhelmed? Like with all because you see so much content, like someone's starting. How do you prevent from being overwhelmed? Like, because I think we could absorb so much noise from the outside that it ends up making us different and not being our authentic self. That makes sense.
I would say this. The great George Carlin, comedian, he didn't watch anybody else's stuff. And I've learned over time, if you want to keep like a unique voice as much as you can, don't watch other people's stuff. Like, I've stopped watching stand-up specials. I've stopped watching all that stuff because that will come out and take away that original voice that you have from your lived experiences.
True.
But the podcast I started is called Your New Dad.
Okay.
And I wanted to tackle
I love this.
the one person podcast format because it's challenging. Here we have two people.
Right.
Which
I enjoy. Right.
It's still an experiment.
It
Sometimes
is.
I have guests. But that was a challenge to me. And I wanted to keep it short, like 10, 15 minutes of I am your father.
Legit.
I am your dad.
Okay.
So that's how I approach it. And I try to give in a comedic way what I think I would have wanted to hear when I was 22.
That's
basically
awesome.
like the raddest substitute teacher that you ever had in your life that you were like, I wish this was my real teacher, but I wish that was my dad. Flaws and all, and do that. And it can go any direction depending on the week.
That's huge value, I feel. I mean,
I think
for
so.
everybody for all of us that have been young men before, that's needed. Because that's the mentor that you may not have. Like what the podcasts were to you when you were a custodian.
Correct. And the other thing is, like, I think we need all the voices we can get that are positive.
Yeah.
That are coming from, not that we have to have this exact same beliefs. No, not at all. But like, that want other humans to thrive.
Yes.
And be healthy. I wish I had podcasts when I was younger and I could listen and learn from other people's mistakes. And for me, it takes 100 times, sometimes 1,000 times. And that's what happened when I was a night janitor. I finally went, you haven't been listening. You think you know how to listen. You don't know how to listen. And then once you really, really listen with your whole mind, heart, and soul, you go, oh, I'm the one who's mistakes.
It's right in front of me the whole time.
It's this guy's, nobody else, just me. And I could change that at any moment. Any moment. It doesn't matter if you're young or you're my age. And that fear of like, are my kids going to eat? Is my mortgage going to get paid? Oh my gosh. There are a bazillion different ways to make money. And it's the funnest thing. Just let her rip, dude. And I'm not saying you don't put your family in jeopardy, but you start small and watch where it takes you.
Yeah.
And again, if you're not hurting anybody and you're promoting a message that's positive, like the world reacts to that and you find your people.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a huge world, man. I love that.
It is.
John, I appreciate you being on here, man.
My pleasure.
It's been
man.
great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Austin. Stoked.
I appreciate it. We had some mic issues and some camera issues, but we'll get it sorted out. So we'll have some good content. This will be on audio as well. And so you said people can find you on Instagram is the best place probably, right?
Instagram, or you can listen to the pod at anywhere you find podcasts at Your New Dad. And yeah, just I would encourage anybody, like if that small, still voice keeps talking to you when you're going to bed at night, wake up in the morning, there's something that you knew you were supposed to be. You're still supposed to be that thing.
Stop ignoring it.
Stop ignoring it, man, because that's who you are.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
Absolutely.
And we need people to be themselves.
I love it. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.